know the truth of who you truly are. Always be calm. Always have a broad point of view. Never be so in tune with a person's eye contact to whereas you're not able to process information by looking in other directions. You have no obligation to keep staring. And if you lack the ability to stare at a person directly in the eyes, you should challenge yourself to embrace uncomfortability and to seek outside of your comfort zone to basically create new neural pathways within the brain. So the brain naturally seeks for comfortability. How you doing, brother? The brain naturally seeks for comfortability. So, in other words, in order to create a stronger brain, you have to allow yourself to challenge yourself to do anything that you may hesitate to do. And that's a reflection of courage and boldness. And I'm so magical. That bird right up there, if you can see it, it just flew towards me and it stopped in mid-air and turned. It like flew, then it flew up, then it turned. Because it was like, it damn near wanted to act like it wanted to land. But that's another story. But there's so many spiritual messages and synchronicities. And I just see so many groups of birds in synchronization with me and vice versa. So in other words, and then just look at the view that I get to see. This is a part. These are you see the bird, the trees, you feel the wind, the vibe, nature. And I usually run down this trail. Like I ran a half a marathon, which is 13 miles. So I run an 8-minute mile. So I can run a mile, which is like 6 real blocks in like 8 minutes. And you know, on a good day anyways. But excuse me. But basically, for the most part, I can run for a long period of time. Like when I was running, training for the marathon, yellow butterfly, so many synchronicities. I don't know if y'all can see it, but when I was training for the marathon, we used to run for like an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, 2 hours 10 minutes, like different shit like that, or just an hour 30 minutes. But over time, I ran less and less. But even into this day, I still run at least sometimes 3 miles or a mile to basically generate a higher level of spiritual momentum and mental energy. So, in other words, your physical is connected directly to your mental and vice versa. So when you improve one aspect of your body, you affect every other aspect of your body. So if you get sick in one aspect of your body, it affects all of the other functions in every other aspect of your body. So everything is interconnected. It's just like the planet. You know, when people die, people are reborn. When people are born, people are dying. When your energy is being destroyed, it's just being recreated and reinvented. So you have to destroy, you have to understand the old dimension, the old reality has been destroyed. The past is the past. So you have to not allow your outdated false perception of self. How you doing, black man? You have to not allow your outdated false perception of self to interfere with your new recreation of self. So in other words, don't allow your negative past memories, thinking habits that interfere with your present moment recreation of self. And then they have this naturally just for the kids. And this run all day and night. And that's so powerful. It just get even more beautiful and beautiful. But I will say this, that life is all about what you make it. I'm in heaven. And how I know I'm going to heaven after I leave, because I'm creating heaven here. So I'm creating my future. The future is built upon the past, and you can base it based upon a negative past or positivity. It's up to you. And you have to stand strong on your truth and know you. You have to always be courageous and always work towards making hard easy. Because life is all about mastering, being comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. So you have to be able to basically enhance the energy on such a level that you can show people that you're multi-dimensional. You can demonstrate, because the new science or the new findings in the psychology field, is that we don't have one self. We have multiple different selves all at once. So in other words, in ancient philosophies, they've been speaking about I don't exist. Identity is limited. And anytime you're dealing with identity, you're dealing with a box or a limitation. Who you are cannot be defined. You're basically divinity, a God attempting to define itself, but or just experience itself. Every experience is an experiment to be experienced. So in other words, the divinity of God is basically, God is to even define God or give God a name is to limit God. So God is beyond comprehension or perception or limitation. So God cannot be comprehended. But this is the reflection of God being somewhat comprehended. And perception deals with limitation. It deals with a limited perception. Perception is limited to the perception that you have. It's like looking through a scope. You're looking through the eyelids, but you're not looking through this, you're looking through your first eye. This is not your third, this is your first. Or maybe, in other words, it's your only truly one. This is something you just utilize to receive signals, but you actually see it in the back of the brain. So the human brain is basically, so you have to know that who you are, your consciousness is not within your brain. It is what it isn't. The electricity that flows in your thoughts are electric. It produces the magnetism, which is outside of your brain, which is your thoughts. So your thoughts are magnetic. Your thoughts are electromagnetic. In other words, so just know that you magnetize. You're always, it's just like they can read. Dr. Bruce Lipton speaks about how they can read your brain function or activity patterns, in other words, from outside of your brain without even touching your brain with a probe. So in other words, you have to know that there's no limit to your existence. Everything you see around me, if you see the trees moving, if you see me moving, it's only because I'm flowing off spiritual momentum. So my flow, the way in which I move and express myself with my hand gestures and hand movements, it's an invisible flow, it's an invisible aura. You're gonna feel me. You're gonna feel me. And you're gonna feel any other person before they even speak. To some extent. Because you're not gonna feel other people like you're gonna feel me to the same extent. I'm gonna make sure you feel my auric field or my information coding, or I'm gonna make sure you feel my presence, my essence, the depthness of my wisdom, even 10, 20 feet away. So always know what you know, always trust and doubt what you know, have calm confidence. Ain't got shit to prove to no one else. I got everything to prove to myself though, so I got something to prove. I got some of everything to prove. I got some of everything to prove and nothing to prove at the same time. So you can have something to prove for the wrong reasons and the right reasons. I love to impress people for my own satisfaction. I'm not attempting to impress people for outside validation or confirmation of who I am. No, that's not even an option. I know who I am. Self-approval is the best approval. Today is special because I am special. So in other words, you decide what makes the greatest moment in your life the greatest moment. And if it's not, it's only because you decide that it's not. But you decide. You decide who you are and you decide who you aren't. And if you have automatic thoughts that attempt to decide for you, you have to sidestep them and detach from them with your intentional thought concentration. So allow your intentional thinking to redirect and override your unintentional thinking, your automatic subconscious thinking. So have a strong self-belief and know that every small little detail of everything around you is working out in your favor. Every small little detail of everything around you is working out in your favor. So feel who you are. Know who you are. The heart knows, the brain deals with the overthinking, second guessing. But trust in that what you know. Your heart already knows. Live in the experience of who you are, and not in the false reality or false thoughts about reality of who you think you are. Peace and love. Hattepu.